Coming up in today's video, we explore a magnificent Jacobean country house. We explore the splendid rooms which have remained untouched for almost 400 years and lived in by just one family. And afterwards we explore the very pretty English country garden. Hello guys.
Hello.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining us again today. So today we've come along to Oxfordshire, and the house that you can see behind us is called Chastelton House, and we're actually in Moreton in the Marsh, I believe, and this is a splendid Jacobean house that was lived in by the same family for no less than 400 years, right up until 1991. So it is very, very original. I think you're going to enjoy this, guys. Would you like to come and take a look?
Yes, let's go.
Chastelton House is indeed a rare gem of a Jacobean country house. It was built between 1607 and 1612 by the prosperous wool merchant Walter Jones. He built the house as an impressive statement of his wealth and power. Owned by the same family who became increasingly impoverished, the house remained essentially unchanged for almost 400 years. The interiors and its contents would gradually succumb to the ravages of time. The family stayed in Chastelton right up until 1991, with virtually no intrusion from the 21st century. This fascinating mansion exudes a timeless atmosphere where we felt genuinely taken back in time. Even the setting of the house within its charming English country garden remains gloriously unspoilt. From the early days of this lavish Goliath of a building, we discovered how the Whitmore-Jones family influenced the fate of this 17th century country house. Chastelton has to be one of the finest remaining houses of the early 17th century in England. Despite the Jones family having found success and considerable wealth from their involvement in the booming cloth industry, Walter Jones was intent on fabricating an even grander ancestry for himself and his family, resulting in the construction of the house with its then sophisticated architecture and its advanced garden layout. Sadly, over the next 400 years, the family became increasingly impoverished, and the Jones heirs would never rise to the status of country gentry. Family legend tells of Irene Whitmore-Jones, who owned the house in the 1930s and 40s, telling visitors that the family had lost all their money in the war, by which she meant not the recent World War, but the Civil War some 300 years earlier. Irene was a remarkable woman who kept Chastelton going. She was one of several widows and spinsters who managed the estate for 120 of its 400 years. Barbara Clutton Brock was the final chatelaine of Chastelton. She kept the tradition alive. She would, however, leave the house in 1991 after it was bought by the National Heritage Memorial Fund. By then the house was in a very fragile condition, but it did still have much of its original furniture and contents. Chastelton was eventually handed to the National Trust. They chose to preserve the house and gardens rather than to restore them. The intention was to retain, as far as possible, the romantic air of decline which still clung to the building. There then followed an extensive 6-year preservation programme, which included replacing the roof and making the building structurally sound, as well as stabilising all the interiors. Wherever possible, decoration, furniture and paintings were left alone. Going back in time, the land and previous house that stood here had been owned by Robert Catesby, leader of the Gunpowder Plot. Walter Jones purchased the old house and estate in 1602, but he did not take full ownership until 1606. Wasting no more time, construction began the following year, and by 1612 the house was complete. Chastelton has been the setting for several successful productions, including Wolf Hall, a TV miniseries, and the popular TV detective series Father Brown, a particular favourite of ours. The house differs from other houses of its type in two major aspects. It has never had a park with a long landscaped approach. Secondly, it was owned by just one family for nearly 400 years. The house is now Grade 1 listed, while the gardens are Grade 2. The gardens have undergone a number of style changes since 1612. Sadly, there are no documents or illustrations to show just how it looked. The walls which enclose the garden are indeed 17th century, which suggests the way we see it today on our visit is probably quite similar to how it looked when it was originally conceived. Our tour of the house concluded in the very original looking kitchens, with its very heavily black charred ceiling. Much of the interior of the kitchen remains unchanged from the day the house was built. We have just come out from Chastelton House, and it is a very, very authentic Jacobean house, and just as we'd expected, it is in a state of decline. The family had lived here for around 400 years, and their wealth had gradually decreased over the centuries, and as their wealth decreased, the house declined with them. It's fascinating to see, and the tour takes you to the very top of the house, where you will just have seen the most wonderful long gallery with a barrel vaulted ceiling, and that really is quite something. Almost worth visiting the house just to see that. So we're going to carry on now and explore the gardens, which I must say look very pretty. So if you'd like to see them, stay with us. So we look to have some nice shaped bushes through in this part of the garden, and as you can see, it's beautifully planted. It's very much an English country garden on a grand scale. But look at this, isn't this lovely? It always makes us happy when we find a really nice walled garden, and the one here at Chastelton is actually filled with vegetables and a few herbaceous plants. There's some squash, I think they're called, growing here, and I can see some, I think probably cabbages. As you can probably tell, vegetable gardening isn't my forte. There's a great view of a corner of the house that you get from the walled garden that's really nice. I'm just going to walk down to some apple trees and I'll swing round and let you take a look. Chastelton is one of only two houses that the National Trust have decided to preserve rather than to restore. So it is just as the family left it. The other house that they chose to do this with is Cork Abbey in Derbyshire, which we've visited several times, and we do have videos on the channel of it. It's another fascinating house. So, Ant has an interesting fact about Chastelton House, something that we've learned on today's visit. So, it's over to you, Ant.
So Walter Whitmore Jones, who lived at Chastelton, played a key part in deciding the rules of croquet. There you go.
We have just stopped at the little tea room at the church next door to Chastelton House, and I'm going to have chocolate cake. Ant's having a Bakewell tart, a tea and a coffee, all for the very reasonable price of £10. So it's yeah, definite place to have a pit stop after you've been in the house. What's the verdict, Ant?
Very nice. What do you think of your chocolate cake, Neil?
It's very moist, it's very nice chocolate cake. I have to say, it's the first time I've eaten cake in a graveyard, but it certainly adds something to the experience. Well guys, that concludes our tour of Chastelton House.
Yes, it was very nice, very interesting.
Very interesting. It's one of those places that you really do feel like you're stepping back in time. It's completely unchanged for centuries really. I think a family did rent it in the early 1900s and they probably added the odd bathroom and maybe you know, a few mod cons of the time, but it's very much unchanged. So we really hope you enjoyed looking around there with us. If you did,
give us a thumbs up, subscribe, it's totally free, give us a little comment, we always reply, and ring that bell for notifications.
Please do guys, as ever we love to hear from you. We hope the video found you well and we'll really look forward to seeing you next time. Take care guys, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.